to abate half of the outstanding interest so that the total bill would be $6,143.98. Is there,
Is there a second?
thank you.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Cynthia and seconded by Glenn to abate half the interest.
Just have one discussion point.
Discussion.
Is everybody good with setting that precedent for future situations like this? with
I
the
think
bank?
that, but I think that we have done abatements. I agree that the bank is a complication. But I can't just do nothing because I want to support what this guy's trying to do. And he may say, I can't pay all of this, or I can't get the bank to pay it. I'm not doing this. I agree with you that it's something to bear in mind, but remember,
Sure.
this is not a precedent like a Supreme Court precedent where everybody's done. We are doing case by case
Case by
things.
I get it.
And nobody should expect.
I
that we-
agree with, I can understand where Matt's coming from though. It's just,
I mean, if this motion doesn't
Okay.
pass, we can go to 40% or 30%. Or we can have. a
I am
motion to
happy
do
getting
nothing.
something. I just want to make sure that we're not setting. a
like Dan said,
precedent.
we're gonna get,
I don't think.
if he buys this property, we get the bill. That's.
That
the
is a
main
good,
thing.
at least we get the bill, which is more than the
Correct.
interest. So,
Because that's a
okay.
huge part of our
Yes.
delinquency
It is.
right now.
Yeah.
That's a big chunk
It
of our
is a huge part of our delinquency.
Yep.
The thing we should watch
If
in
we
the
get
future
50% of that.
is
10% of it.
this isn't the only,
There's another estate like
right,
this.
there's,
Yes,
this isn't the only estate.
yes,
Right.
And be very careful
yes.
to not just roll over on each one of them just because we did on this one.
And I,
That's
you know,
right.
and I almost wonder if it would make sense to try to contact any other estate accounts
Well, we should have our attorney in contact. us
Exactly.
For sure.
for collections
In the future.
purposes,
Yeah.
you know, before we get to this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something.
And,
Kendall,
the
thank you for
other
your
thing we
service.
might want to consider
She'll help.
for not just this one, but others in the future, we may want to consider filing a lien in the town clerk's office. So when they do the title search.
Well, we should
it shows up.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
So
I always
if
thought
for
that was
some reason
done.
it got
Yeah,
missed because
agreed.
it wasn't there,
Yeah.
that probably is on us. I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying the
Okay.
way to be sure to get these.
Right.
I think
Same
those are good
before-
discussion points for us at
before
the
the
water
bank-
meeting for policy.
Yeah, and I think,
Unloads another.
yeah, and I
on
think,
Monday.
and I think that
Monday.
this is such a long-standing one. And when they start, you have no idea that 8 years later, you know,
I get it.
it's like,
This one.
but for
been out
this
so
one
long.
and the other state ones, any other state ones, we should take
Make sure
steps
there's a lien in
to
the file.
put a lien in the file
Okay.
and
So when
maybe
they do the title
contact them for
search,
collections or something.
then you're catching it long before
Yes,
this
yes.
step.
Well,
Yes.
you've persuaded me to be generous, so.
Oh.
It's hard today. It's been hard today.
You're not necessarily wrong, you know,
Let's go.
but
Let's
vote.
vote. We gotta get another meeting to
All
go
right.
All
to,
right.
so.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying
All right.
Aye.
aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
okay, before we close the water meeting, just to remind everybody that we will have the regular water department meeting next Monday at 7.
Mhm.
And Josh will, of course, have all of his reports on his activities and issues. We will also need to have some discussions about different policies. We may have to have an executive session to discuss some legal and other issues. But the main thing, the policy that we want to think about, and I'll be sending you guys something about this, is this question of disconnection, reconnection fees, and deactivation. I mean, this idea that if your house burns down, then it's deactivated and you're not paying anything. Whereas here we disconnected it, but we were still charging. And when would we do a deactivation? And I think that, Josh, in general, you felt as if we might want to consider having a higher fee to disconnect or deactivate or reconnect or reactivate, but not charge people when they're not using water. But my understanding is that we've always felt, hey, the water's there. As soon as you want it, it's there. And the idea that you're not going to pay for the availability of the water, even though you've gone to Europe for 2 years and you don't want it, we should still be getting that water. So I don't know what the consequences for the income would be if people could disconnect and not pay the base fee. This is significant because there are people who are doing work on their properties or have multiple properties and they want to disconnect and not pay fees while they're doing the construction. And right now, they could certainly disconnect, but they would still be paying the fees. So this is a live issue, and I think we need to clarify what we want to do. And I don't know that we can put in place a whole new policy in one meeting, because usually we have to sort of
There
approve
may have
things.
to
but-
be a
Yeah,
hearing process.
yeah. So anyway, Josh, is that pretty much
Yep,
cover
that's pretty
and-
much the
and-
baseline of that, and then I'll put together my 2 cents and a breakdown of what I think the charges should be.
Yeah.
And if somebody was to go to the disconnection, or deactivation, I should say, there would be a maintenance fee charge. It wouldn't be the total, but would be a charge for the handful of
Right.
people this would fall under.
That's right.
But I'm working on that, and that'll
Yeah.
be done before next meeting with a couple other.
That's right. I
issues.
forgot about the
Super.
maintenance fee, and Josh was talking about having those fees for reconnection or inactivation or anything higher than they are now, so people aren't doing it frivolously.
Right.
But the maintenance charge would be lower than what it is. So people would only do it when it really made sense, and not do it frivolously.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Jamie and seconded by Matt.
Do this
We're
next
adjourned for the water
We're gonna move
board
on.
agenda.
I am ready.
next
I gotta leave at 5 o'clock
Do you
tomorrow
guys
morning
need
for
a minute
Dartmouth.
for
Um,
restroom?
so-
Janet, are you good? Do you need a minute? Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
All right, good, Janet. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Josh.
Just want to make sure.
Monday.
See you Monday.
So Matt, do we have to?
If not
switch
before.
meetings?
Yes.
Is it all the same meeting?
It's all the same link on the minutes,
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
so I don't think we have to do anything.
Okay.
Okay.
And we're still recording, so.
Yeah.
Move on.
Okay, and so, one thing before we get started is that, we had, a couple of things have come up, that are not on the agenda. I don't think any of them are really big items. Like
Mine can be
one-
all other business.
Yeah,
Are they action?
I think there's an issue on one of the town roads that I think we have to do an executive session. So I
I
don't,
want to set a committee date.
He wants to-
So I don't, that's actionable, but I
hiring
think that's
committee.
all other
Yeah,
business, so.
that can be
Okay.
under all. of them.
okay, so I don't think there's anything to add, to the.
So we have no
Okay,
additions to
right.
the agenda.
All right.
Okay.
Perfect.
I will call, it is 7:09, and I will call the select board meeting in order. We apologize for being a little late. The
Bye, Josh, thank you.
Thanks,
water
Josh.
board meeting ran over a few minutes. All right. So, under the select board agenda, we have no additions or deletions. We are going to have a executive session. That's not over down there.
It is, it's on the second page, be for,
Oh, yes.
Personnel and
So
legal.
we don't even have to have it. All right, so the next next item on the agenda is the minutes of the previous meeting. We just need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Jamie and seconded by Cynthia to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. At this point in the agenda is public comments, anything not already on the agenda. Now's your time. Anybody in the room or on the, yes, Steve, go ahead.
Steve McClafferty. A question. A few meetings ago, I presented the town of Chester's annual report, and where they got a little bit over $4 million in grants. And I asked at that time, how much in dollar money did the town of Arlington get in grants? And like I said, I didn't expect the answer then, but you know, since then, has anybody found out how much the town of Arlington received in grants?
I did ask Nick about this, and he said that his preliminary overview of the accounting was that it was about 200,000, but I have not verified that number. And the only, concern that I have is that I could be wrong, but I think that Chester, is one of those municipalities that has suffered from repeated flooding. So I don't know if some of those grants were state grants for road and bridge repairs, and I don't know that. I have not looked, I have the materials, you know, that you gave us, but I have not looked that up. So right now, that is, I'm not swearing to that figure, but that's the figure that Nick gave, because I did remember your question.
Well, the swag doesn't sound too promising. That, you know, hopefully as you go through the process of selecting a new town administrator, that we ask, that individual, him or her, to get more money, because we have a lot of projects and the town cannot afford a lot of debt. And the more money we get for grants, the better off we are.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right, new business, the delinquent tax collector policy. Is that what this is? We need to pass it around.
Everybody should have received
Yeah,
a
through
copy of it. Nick, and I both went through it. Those are other things. Nick and I both went through it. My understanding is both, the treasurer and, the delinquent tax collector also weighed in on it. And so I believe that, we can certainly have any discussion or even possible revisions as needed, but that, the task right now is for the board to approve it, and I can't remember if it's just you signing it or if it's all of us signing it.
All of us
All of
signing
us
it.
signing it, yeah.
So we can have discussion about it. I'll make a motion to approve the delinquent tax collector policy as presented.
Second,
Motion made by Matt and seconded by Cynthia to approve the delinquent tax collection policy discussion.
I thought it was pretty well written and thought through. Steve, do you have?
Yeah, a few things. One, it starts off in section 6A. You have in there the NEMRIC system. And remember, if you change systems, you got to come back to a policy and change policy. So I would say look at it as change it to the town's accounting or financial
Yeah.
system. Just to keep it, you know,
Generic.
yeah.
Make that a generic, not a specific.
Yeah. And then,
There's another one.
In fact, we should do that under E and under F
oh,
as
yeah,
well.
wherever it shows up. Under section I, it says bi-weekly, the finance administrator / treasurer runs a report of penalties payable for payroll and submits to the delinquent tax collector. What does payroll have to do with
Confused.
delinquent taxes? Just. I'm just reading the words.
Right,
Yeah.
what's that?
Is-
Can I answer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you said
So
your,
mine-
Please do.
What happens now is they submit, I get paid by the town, the payroll department. She submits what my amount of payment should be.
Okay.
because yours is
sense.
basically commission based.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that's how you get your
right,
commission.
and
then.
she submits it to Janet, and Janet cuts the check, and, yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm fine.
It's not payroll in general, it's only
Uh,
perfect.
Yeah, I was just looking at
See my
for
red pen.
payroll, yeah. And then section K, the last part, it says, and then an additional 4% on or around January 1st of each year.
Yeah, there should definitely be.
That should say like, the first business day after, the start of the new calendar year. You
Yeah,
know, something, because if you say on or about, and if the first is on a Saturday, you know, if I do it the 31st, you know, that's on or about, or do I wait to the 3rd? So if you use,
First business day after the new year,
Business day.
yeah,
after the first of the year.
yeah,
First of the year.
And why is it only twice a year?
It used to be only once. She,
Right.
established that 3 or 4 years ago, Tiffany did. So it used to be the penalty was 8%, and that was it.
Gotcha.
And they decided to buffer it a little bit,
And make it twice easier.
because it was, if you recall, November 4th is the due date in the hands of the treasurer.
Yeah.
And if it was in the 5th, it was 8%. And they just thought it was a little harsh to have 8% that close.
Yeah.
So there's a window to
Yeah.
the first. So it gives you 6 or 7 weeks of a cushion for the people that for whatever reason missed it. I'm not saying ignorance of that is an excuse, because everybody knows it, even out of towners. So, but that was her implementing that. The delinquent tax collector has the final call on, honestly. So,
No, it's fine, Lisa.
yeah,
I'm just curious as to why.
but that's how it evolved to that. And it's a very recent development, because back when Dickie Keough ran the office, it was 8% and that was it.
Yeah.
And he didn't have much problem with people complying with it, because it was hard,
Yeah,
so. you
Can I
know,
amend my motion?
And section L, you're making them both sign their lives away on things, but you're only keeping a copy with the finance administrator and treasurer. Shouldn't the copy go to the delinquent tax collector?
honestly, I don't get anything except of what my paycheck would be.
Okay.
I get absolutely nothing.
And Nemrick is also in that section.
Yeah, I already
Oh,
got
yeah,
that.
Yeah, okay, I'm just. No,
Can I amend the motion?
You may.
I'll amend my motion to accept the delinquent tax collector policy as presented with the following changes. 6.a, changing
And
NEMRIC.
you've written them on your copy,
I
right?
did.
Okay.
So 6.a, changing NEMRIC to Town's Financial System. 6.e, changing NEMRIC to Town's Financial System. 6.f, changing NEMRIC to Town's Financial System. 6.k, changing on or around January 1st each year to first business day after the first of the year. And 6.l, changing NEMRIC to Town's Financial System.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so we'll.
Because I think we could sign the signature page
And then
and
I can
just
make the
and then do the
changes.
the
Yeah.
changes in
Yeah.
the other
If
pop.
you can,
Yeah, I will give that to you.
So the amended motion is to include those edits that were just delineated.
I gave those to to Cynthia Janet.
Yes, and you seconded.
Thank
the
you.
motion.
Yeah, I did.
Yes, another discussion.
Sorry, I just wanted to, I did make several other recommendations. Most of these are absolutely fine, but I'm still a little bit concerned about not posting to the member system. I just want to know what the reasoning for that is.
where are you,
Where are you
where are you
looking?
talking about?
I don't post the payments to the member system anymore. I just put the payments in the, excuse me, in the tax collector or the town treasurer's spot. Basically, that's all I do is just collect the checks.
Well, I have, Nick was the one that was part of all the different discussions. My impression is that the idea is that the posting is all done by one person, so it all gets done as soon as you have the money and you put it in her box and then she does the posting, rather than having different people doing the posting. That is my impression, but that's just my impression. And I don't know that I'm comfortable changing that without consulting Christian, because I don't know enough about what was underneath that. I'm sorry.
That's what I thought this was about. We did consult, like, go ahead, Matt, sorry.
No, that's perfectly fine. It seems in my mind that over time, and this is slightly changed because now Christian is a hired employee. So the continuity of process, it would make sense that our hired employee that is responsible for the finances of, the treasurer's office and handling all of that would be the one making the posting and the work that needs to be done in the town's financial system. Because ultimately that hired employee we're holding that position accountable for it. And as a hired employee, we have more control over that. So in my mind, it makes more sense for continuity of all of the process.
But my issue is she is answering as an employee of the town as a delinquent tax collector, and she's not the delinquent tax collector.
But she's not doing any of the delinquent tax collecting. She's just processing the financial payment.
Correct. But like for, it was like automatic payments, I had to give her a copy of the agreement that I made. It really has nothing to do with the town treasurer. She's a town treasurer employee of the town of Arlington.
Correct.
So if something were to mess up on the delinquent tax department side, I'm the delinquent tax collector. Who's going to answer for that?
If it was a payment posting or process issue with what the treasurer is supposed to post, let's say something didn't get posted, right? And that was her.
I mean, she's doing great.
That would be between the select board and the employee.
But she's not the delinquent tax.
I under.
So is it that,
She's our finance director.
right, so is it that you're feeling that when you get delinquent tax payment, rather than giving it to Christian, you should be posting that to Nemrick? Is that your position?
Right, and then give her the checks for depositing, because she's like the town treasurer. She should be depositing the checks and taking it from there.
Is it your position that on a statutory basis, you as a delinquent tax collector must be the one that enters it in Nemrick?
No, not on a statutory. I just want to know these questions. Who's going to be responsible if something goes wrong?
I think that both of you need to document what you do. So if you accept the payment and then transfer the payment to her for deposit in the bank and entry into Nemrick, according to this, I would make a copy of the paperwork you're giving her, sign it and date it.
I don't get the paperwork.
But you get the check. You get the check.
It comes directly to here. I get nothing except a copy of what my paycheck is.
Then what would you be entering in Nemrick?
I used to enter the payments, I used to post the payments to Nemrick. I don't get anything to that.
I mean, there is paperwork for this because I keep it with payroll. When Christian writes it all up, everybody's documented, every amount is there. We have all that information, and I keep it with payroll. And
Right,
Christian,
I totally agree with that. You have all of that.
I have everything.
Well, that's
And-
as simple as we just scan the paperwork and.
Yeah, I have it.
Copy of
We have it available.
That's not a problem.
If you're just asking for copies of that paperwork, is that what you're saying? Or you're saying, say something is wrong with the process? Who's accounting? I think that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
So,
if you say she's accountable, then that's fine, just put it in writing somewhere.
okay.
Because I think the other issue is,
I'm sorry.
Essentially, you're asking for a receipt.
Contact the,
You're asking for a
Residents?
receipt other than just this was my pay. A receipt of what
Right.
was transacted.
right, and if all you want me to do is contact the residents and tell them, like, be a debt collector, I guess is what you want to call it, fine, but I'd like that.
Okay. So I think that's just a matter of implementing a procedure.
That's a procedure. not a
Yeah, that's a
policy.
procedure, not a policy. Implement a procedure that then covers you,
Yeah.
covers her, and everybody, there's a clean line of who's responsible.
Say that again?
I thought that's what this was gonna be, because we both met with Nick about under my impression, Nick told me that he had met with Christian
Yep,
and he didn't meet with me, he just sent me a copy of the new policy.
Okay, well, I am actually not really clear about what you would want different about this. I understand about providing copies of paperwork to you. If that's something that needs to be done, we can do that. But, I was not part of this whole process of working it out, so I can't.
Honestly, I wasn't either. I didn't
Okay,
know there was an
so-
issue.
So,
I think other than just changing some procedure, the policy with those minor revisions, and
Yeah, I
then
think
we
you're
just
right.
ensure that we
I think
get,
it's just to have a
procedure.
procedure
Yeah, I
in
think
place
it's procedure.
that does what you
Yeah.
want it to do.
and that could be as simple as Janet just scans and
Making copies.
emails you
She
the,
gives you copies
the
of
summary
everything,
of the transaction.
whether it's weekly or bi-weekly
Yeah.
or monthly, whatever it is,
It should, like,
or every time it happens.
well, in here it says every other day, and it should be every other day, because
Okay.
if the payment isn't posted, I'm continuously calling these residents and
Yep.
they're
Yeah.
saying, oh, I just sent a payment.
Okay, so that's
Okay.
an
There we go.
important issue.
Every
Because
other
if
day.
she's trying to collect and people have sent their check, now, of course, it may not have been deposited yet, but if they've sent their check.
As long as it's posted, that's fine.
Mhm.
She can, Christian can worry about the deposit. The less I have to do with that, the better off I am.
Okay.
As long as it's posted.
Yeah.
The day she receives.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep,
And
that
I
makes
don't know if
sense.
that's more of a policy or procedure. I'm
it's a
not sure.
procedure.
Procedure,
Okay.
for sure. But it needs to be, whatever that procedure is, needs to be thoroughly defined and then enacted. But that's not necessarily, doesn't change this policy. It's just a
And
procedure.
we can tweak
And we-
this going forward. We're putting
Because
this in
this is
place.
policy, it can
We
be
can
changed
change
at any time.
So let's go ahead and put this in place with, Matt's edits. And then we can, we can discuss the question of the timely posting so that you know who's paid and who hasn't paid.
They
Because
can
that's a
change
big
it to
issue.
every other day, I see, but I mean, I'm just, I guess. I just want to make sure it's every other day.
Yeah,
That's the way it's
it's a good
supposed to be.
look.
Thank you, Misty, so you're so involved. Okay, so, everybody understand the motion with the edits?
Mhm.
Yes. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. And we'll see that that procedure gets implemented,
Thank you.
whatever it might be.
And we need to sign the sheet,
Yeah,
and I will make the necessary revisions. And I'll discuss the procedure issue, with Janet and Chris.
Do you have a copy of the procedures?
Let me give you a copy of the final one.
Okay.
What is your email?
Okay.
Through the county.
So it'll show up.
it'll
Yeah.
just show up, it's just fine, yeah.
5.2 Arlington Fire Department Syracuse trip.
So I don't have any,
Are you-
paperwork about that. I don't know
Okay.
what the situation is.
To be honest, I didn't even know about the document, like Dr. Jane. So we researched that, but, if I could ask when you guys go into, executive session, if I could just have a minute on something.
Yeah.
Don't think This
Absolutely.
is gonna work out, and I'll let you know why in there. But as of right now, I'd say this is kind of on hold and,
Okay.
And your request for executive session is personnel?
yes.
Okay, just want to make sure.
All right, good. There is a slew of liquor licenses and such.
Oh, my God.
Looks like there's 6 or 7 of them, but assumed by
Hmm.
individual entity. Okay. This one is for Batten Hill Resorts. And there is a outside consumption, a third class, a first class, and vodka license. These are all verbal, approval.
Okay, I
Or
make,
the campground.
here, that's, there's no,
Say campground, right?
No, yeah.
no, Baton Hill Resources to Arlington Inn.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So I make a motion to approve, a first-class hotel license, a third-class hotel license, and an outside consumption permit, all liquor license for the Arlington Inn under Baton Hill Resorts. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Cynthia and second by Jamie. If that you made the
It
motion.
works.
you second.
It's fine.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 The next two are a tobacco license and a second-class license for the Wayside School.
I make a motion to approve a second-class liquor license and a tobacco license for the West Arlington Wayside Store. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Cynthia, second by Jamie, to approve the two applications for the Wayside Store. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And finally, the American Legion Post 69 Incorporated outside consumption, first-class club license, and third-class club license.
Make a motion to approve, outside consumption permit, first-class club license, and a third-class club license, all for the American Legion Post 69. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Cynthia and seconded by Matt to approve the American Legion Post 69 applications. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, that's done. Next item, there's a state highway grants and aid letter for 2026. And I believe they just authorized me to sign it. This is an 80/20, so the total request, the BCRC invoice is $973.49. Plus the total matching share, the total request, net matching share is $194.70, so that would be subtracted. That's our share, and so the amount that the request is $778.79. And
Wait,
that's,
this is the letter of the intent. What is this?
Isn't that the 7A sidewalk that you signed for BCRC to allow payment? I think the one you just read, isn't that the sidewalk one?
That's the
Yeah.
sidewalk.
backwards, that's the sidewalk, and that's the.
I
Yeah,
don't-
that's different.
Sidewalk.
That's what Dan signs periodically when they send it to
I
us.
would grant an aid letter.
Okay, so this is the letter of intent to participate in the municipal grants and aid program. And there's associated paperwork, and a sample invoice, but I think right now, all we have to do is approve it and you sign it. That is my impression.
Yes.
And
That's correct.
Janet, what is the sidewalk invoice? Wouldn't that be part of the
Executive session.
warrants?
No,
Yeah.
it's nothing to do with the warrant. Dan signs it, I return it to BCRC, and then she can submit to payment once he's approved it. We do this periodically whenever these come through. We've done a lot of them.
Do we need to explicitly approve it as a board, or does he just
No,
need to
it's,
sign?
Dan's the only one required to sign
Dan
it.
signs it.
Gotcha. Perfect.
So this is the letter of intent to participate in the municipal roads grants and aid program for 2026. And I guess all you guys have to do is authorize me to sign it.
I make a motion to approve, Chairman Harvey signing the letter of intent to participate in the fiscal year 26 municipal roads grants in aid program.
Second.
Motion made by Cynthia, second by Glenn,
And
to participate in the grants and aid program for 2026. All those in favor, signify
wait, could
by
I
saying aye.
could I just discuss? So I think that this just lays out a lot of things that we need to do. And,
Yes, that's-
and I'll be reviewing it, to make sure that we're doing all of it. But right now, all we need to do is just say, yeah, we're gonna do it, and then I will, send it in.
And as I understand it, we may have multiple requests within that program.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so.
It's a entire program.
Because basically it's saying that we want to participate in this program, and because we want to participate, we will do best management practices, we will do this, we will do this, you know, and all that kind of, we will be a good boy, and, you know, that's.
So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And there is, this must be the other one thing.
It's, let's see.
Chloride.
We have chloride, and then there's this mortgage
Mortgage
discharge.
discharge.
And what that is
That's that.
some kind of, well, we'll talk about that when we get there. It's-
So this one is from Innovative Surface Solutions. Price quote valid from April 2nd of 25 to September 30th of 25. And it's basically for a chloride solution for the gravel roads. ProGuard is delivering 5,000 gallons at $1.11 a gallon.
I'll make a motion to approve the quote from Innovative Surface Solutions for the, what are we calling it, the dust mitigation.
Dust control.
I think I signed up.
The chloride solution for dust control in the amount of $1.11 per gallon for a total quantity of 5,000 gallons.
Second.
Motion made by Matt and seconded by Glenn to approve the chloride award to
Innovative surface solution.
Innovative Surface Solutions for a total of 5,000 gallons at $1.11 a gallon. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, so Dan, I do think that you need to sign this now where it says, volume commitment, we're saying 5,000, right? Is that what we were?
I
Correct,
believe
that's
so.
the delivery
That's-
quantity on the first page.
Yeah, it's on the board itself.
Right.
there.
I know, I just wanted to be sure that was, that I'm interpreting.
I'm pretty sure though, we've done them in the past, the delivery quantity is 5,000 gallons at a time.
Right.
So you could, and I don't know how much Mark's gonna put out, but you could go over 5,000.
Well, if he needs more than another 5,000, he can come back and ask for it.
But that's what they deliver at one time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Got it.
No, it doesn't.
That's probably not what the tank holds. The storage tank.
Yeah, there's two of them.
Well, if we were
But
gonna
you're-
buy 10,000 gallons, then we would negotiate a different price other than $1.11 a gallon.
Yeah, I don't know what you negotiate. I'm just telling you that's what, when I used to. do
Because the
it,
more I buy, the less I should pay.
Yes.
Well, that delivery quantity isn't what you per se buying, unless that's what he negotiated. The delivery quantity is what they can fit on
Maybe
your
it's
truck
up
or what
to
you have
$5,000,
storage for.
but that's not what it says.
That's not, yeah, that's just. how
No,
much
it
they
says
can bring.
that we're buying 5,000 gallons at $1.11, period. That's what it says here.
Yep.
Use
Agreed.
the delivery.
So we're gonna say 5,000 gallons here.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, and if there's an issue and we need more, then we do it again. Is that
Right,
right?
that's right, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna,
Otherwise, we would commit to 10,000 gallons at a lower rate and
Can't
take it in
imagine
2
we could
deliveries.
use that.
I can't
And how
either.
many gallons did you use last year, or the last 2 years?
I would have.
Very good
have to ask
question.
Mark. I would have to ask Mark, you know.
I mean, I think there's a reason why this is what,
I think our
It's because-
tank only holds
that's
like
right. I think
6,000
that's
gallons
the
anyhow.
basis of it, but I
Yeah.
don't have that information. Okay, so that's what
Okay.
we voted, I don't think we voted.
No, we haven't.
We haven't voted.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Excellent. Okay, so the mortgage thing, this is, the, Arlington area childcare is, going to be, remortgaging. It turned out there was some kind of old mortgage left on the records, and the town was somehow listed part of this. And it had to do with the grant that was involved in the original construction of that program. So that mortgage is paid off, it's defunct, so John Thrasher is asking us to, discharge it, and it has to be notarized. So what I would like is to have the board authorize me to sign it, and then I can go downstairs and sign it and then file it. They've already paid the fee
Makes
and
sense.
everything.
Yeah.
So,
Are
So-
we sure that the grant was closed out?
I'm sure.
If it ran through the town? I'm just,
It's an older grant when they first built them.
okay,
And that's long been.
okay.
so I'll make a motion to approve of,
Why don't I'll make a motion to authorize Cynthia Browning to sign the mortgage discharge paperwork related to the mortgage deed to the town of Arlington dated May 23rd, 2022. Book 105, page 173, discharging the amount of $591,700 in relation to the Arlington area childcare property.
second,
Motion made by Matt and seconded by Cynthia to discharge was there a mortgage number on that?
There is not.
I would just say,
So for the Arlington area.
2002, I'm sorry, I think I misspoke.
Yeah, I
Okay.
said 22, but
The mortgage for the Arlington area childcare.
In 2002, book 105, page 173.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
right?
Aye.
John,
Motion carried.
Was it the town was a?
We were a pass-through for a grant from the state.
Okay,
we never held a mortgage or lent any money or
Yeah.
anything,
okay.
but there've been a number of projects, the Arlington area childcare, the Shires, I
The
think.
Shires
Shires,
House.
yeah.
And,
Different ones.
Commons.
where,
Commons.
comments where it kind of passes
They
through.
won't, those grants will not go to the entity, the NGO, without it passing through the town.
Okay.
It's just
I'm
a
just,
part of statutory law.
Okay, so there are a number of sort of, all other business things. I don't know if you want to do the warrants
Let's
first.
do the warrant
Yeah.
first.
Get right through them.
Okay, so the first is the water department. As usual, the, premiums, the healthcare premiums are the biggest chunk at 3,700. And then we also are paying the quarterly amount for the backup operator and services from Burr Snow. So I make a motion to approve the total of $11,998.74.
I'll second. What was the order number?
Yeah, order number.
Oh, I'm sorry, check warrant report number WD 8, April 18th, 2025.
What was the cents on that? 11,900?
74
I'll seconded that, Dan.
Motion made by Cynthia and seconded by Matt to approve check warrant report WD 8 in the total amount of $11,998.74. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 question,
Yes.
we're paying, Snow's Plumbing and Heating for the backup operator for the 5915. Since we're paying a company, do we have a workers' comp certificate on hand?
We do.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Uh,
And the company will get a 1099.
These
Oh, they have
guys.
to sign.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good question. Okay, so the next one is gonna be the town of Arlington. Once again, the healthcare premiums are a big chunk, 16,600. There's also hazard mitigation assistance from BCRC 5,000. Fire department fiscals, 8,700, thank you very much. And, Green Mountain Power, 2,400, et cetera, et cetera. And then fire department accident insurance, 3,350. So, and then a variety of, regular kinds of things. So I make a motion to approve the town of Arlington's regular expenses check warrant report number 8 dated 4/18/2025. Motion to approve the amount of $48,157.26.
I'll second.
Motion made by Cynthia and seconded by Matt to approve check warrant report number 8 for the total amount of $48,157.26. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
I had one noted item for all other business.
Okay,
And I think that's, we've got our town admin search committee and I formed at the last meeting.
yes.
And I believe that last Friday applications closed. So we should probably set a date for the first committee meeting. I don't know how we want to go about that.
You're on that committee, right?
I am.
I would say maybe Janet can contact everybody or
Yep.
you can. And then I think we should do it as soon as possible. And
I mean, we should get started, at least
Yeah.
filtering through those.
there's a large number of them and I'm sure a lot of those will be filtered out quickly, but,
Janet, do you want to send out a query or a doodle to see?
I
Some
have
dates.
nobody's email though, except you. And I asked Nick for Nicole's information. He had only a cell phone number and I did call and leave a message, but I haven't heard back because he thought
Okay.
that she should have the sign-ins for the LinkedIn and
Yes.
Indeed so that she could filter through like the 80 applications and that she would be the one to go through that.
Well, let me work, I'll
Um,
take it to do then to work on that this week, Dan.
okay.
And Janet, I'll help you with that because I have Todd's
You
email
need my
address. I
help
have
on that?
Nicole's, I think. I know how to get a hold of Nicole. So yeah, I'll
Joe
work with, and
Joe,
Joe, we have
Nicole,
Joe's
and
information.
And you too.
and Jamie.
The two
Yeah,
of us.
so Nicole, Todd and Joe, we have.
oh yeah, I have Jamie's obviously,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I know.
So I did,
on the
okay, I did
town-
leave a
Yeah,
message with
our
Nicole.
Search committee,
Yep.
so
Um,
I'll help you with it, Janet.
Yeah.
I'll work on it
Okay.
this week.
and I
Sounds
spoke
good.
with Todd and Nicole last week. They're both ready to go. So-
Okay, so as long as we're
Um,
good with that, I'll do a doodle and we'll figure that out.
Full speed ahead on that.
Yeah.
Awesome, just want to make sure that everybody's,
Yeah, Nick left me with the sign-in links for LinkedIn and Indeed.
super.
Awesome.
And you've got that, Matt,
Did you have a question?
I can get
Joe,
it.
I have a.
because I don't know that I have it.
Nick left it
something
with
for other
Janet,
business.
Got it,
so
got it.
that's all that it needs to be at right now, and then we'll get someone on the committee to go through and filter
So
those.
all other business,
Yes.
There's another one.
go.
So I've heard from several of our employees in the building that we have been having tremendous phone issues.
Yes, and that was one of the things that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
And I do have some information about it.
Okay.
So, the phone in Nick's office has been out periodically, the phone in the Lister's office has been out periodically. And it seems to have no rhyme or reason where it goes out and then eventually it comes back on and it's just crazy. And the one thing, and Janet can chime in after I'm done, but the one thing that we've discovered, because she's been calling the company, remember, this is the company, we're locked into a contract, we've had perennial problems. And she got somebody this time where they said they were able to go in and look at the system enough so that they said that their system is trying to put the calls through, but there may be something about our IT configuration that is not letting them come through. And she says that on her phone, which has been working, she was having problems and someone from E-Enable came and did something and now it seems to be working. So I believe that Janet has contacted E-Enable, or she will, to see if it's actually not Granite, whatever it is, but actually the IT in our building.
We should be able to look at the firewall
And
logs and
so,
see.
and so,
That should be a simple resolution if they.
Janet, is that, did I summarize that
Yes.
correctly?
Yes. I finally got someone really helpful today at Granite, and he was looking at it like while I was on the phone with him, and he could see all those lines were pinging and trying to work. And so he did think it is a firewall issue. I called Ian Abel. Ian Abel's going to talk to the people that fixed my phone, like, I don't know, maybe a year ago when we signed on with Granite. And so we are on our way to having a permanent solution.
Well, we
Excellent.
we don't know, because remember, it's really easy for one company to say, no,
Well,
it's
and
not
the-
us, it's you, so.
Yeah.
Is the phone saying registration expired or?
It says no account,
Yeah, it says no
No
account when it
account.
doesn't work.
and it's dead, there's not
So
even a
it's
dot.
losing its SIP registration.
Yes.
So, well, let's go with this, and then if it continues to be a problem, I'm happy to help out with that, and
So,
I'll call Granite.
And the one thing that
I know
the
people there.
lister's office is like, we can't work.
Right.
And they want us to get a cell phone
No.
for the lister's office, like even just a track phone. And I don't wanna do
No.
anything
No,
like
we'll just
that
fix
until
this
we're-
problem. This
yeah.
is an
Yeah.
easy
Fix
fix.
this. This is easy.
Okay. All right, and then, I have some things for the executive session, and I guess, and Brian, you do too.
Yes.
Did you say?
And you got something else for other
Because you
business.
have something for all of this.
Okay,
So I,
Okay, go ahead.
okay.
Go ahead.
I believe it was League of Cities grant, we were waiting for that to get closed from the park. And then we were gonna try for a grant for some cameras to
The
protect.
cameras, but we needed that grant for the playground to
Playground.
get closed out.
So I was just checking up on that.
It was on my note, I just hadn't gotten that far. We'll have to look in to see if
I
it's
have
actually
no
closed.
idea.
I think Nick was gonna send the paperwork, but then it takes a while as
I
well,
just,
so.
it was on my mind, so.
Yeah, I asked Nick before I left to go to Buffalo, and he said that that was 2 weeks ago, so. He said that he was finishing the paperwork on that. We'll just need to
Okay.
Check
verify.
that, okay.
Yep.
So that would, if I do see him tomorrow, that would be something. to
Yeah,
ask
it would be
about.
good to ask
Okay.
about.
Thank you.
So I have a question, and I don't know if any of you guys can help me with this, and I am hoping to see Nick tomorrow, and I can ask him
Yeah.
about it, but what it is if somebody's inquired about doing an activity at the park in conjunction with Duck Derby. This is not the Duck Derby people, that's the daycare. This is it the Arlington Area Youth Baseball Associating is thinking about doing something in the afternoon. And so she's inquiring about a permit, and I have the permit form, which has the list of fees and other kinds of stuff. And she doesn't fully know exactly what she's gonna want, but I don't know where the park calendar is. I don't know who has it. I couldn't find it in the system. And I didn't know if any of you guys knew anything about it.
Willie pretty much handles that.
Yeah.
down at
Willie
the
handles that.
park.
So
So then-
she would fill out a permit. So I would check with him.
I would check with Willie.
Yeah.
Okay, so I
He would
did
be
send
the
him an
first one.
email about it.
You must
So,
have the
but
calendar.
she would fill out the form and pay the fee to the town,
Mhm.
but the scheduling is through Willie.
On the park, I did get a written letter back from, the park committee, Ron Weber, and they are definitely in for the 9,000 for the golf course and possibly more, depending on where everything falls out. And as soon as we get the numbers for the new toilets, urinals and sinks, they are looking at helping out with that as well. Those were our two biggest issues right now. So they are on board, at least with for $9,000 for the golf course reconstruction of the 4 greens.
And do you have an
stuff.
email from them?
I do. from
Could you
Ron
forward
Weber,
it to
yeah.
me so that I can put it,
Yep.
I can file it somewhere?
So will that be, are we gonna get the quotes for the golf course work firmed up and everything and then have that? as
So
an
Joe
item
is still
for
working
next
on that, yes, and his
Meeting?
estimated cost was between $14,000 and $15,000, and that's with us using the town highway to do some of the work.
Yep.
And he is still working on the whole thing and getting the permitting and everything done, so.
Okay, I think we just, now that we have this from the park committee, we can look at our budget
Mhm.
and then make an action maybe on the, at the next
Sure.
select board meeting, so we can
Yeah.
get started. That gives him 2 weeks to get, for Joe to get everything, a firm, updated quote to us.
Yep.
Okay, that's great.
I will forward that.
That's, thank you very much. That's great.
Furthermore, at the park,
Yeah,
when we are renting out fields, it has got to be noted that they are not to pull bases and change the diameter or the size of
Yes.
the fields.
had that conversation.
when
We
when
did.
we are doing what on the field?
When we
We
rent
run
the
it when we
field.
run them
When we
out.
rent the field.
So last year, the gentleman from the Bombers that rented the field pulled all the bases and the base cores. I spent 4.5 hours down there trying to get the bases back in line for the high school softball to play
For their dimensions.
for the
So,
dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to run the robot on it this week, Wednesday, to try and get it finalized because it's very, very
Yeah.
close. It's off a few inches and
He also
The
dug up the
computer.
mound on the little
he
league
dug
field
the
and
mound out.
moved it back.
He dug up everything.
was this a
So-
one day event?
He only used the little league field this year once.
Yeah, and I don't know
So
how much
far.
he used it
Did he
last
have a
year.
He
permit?
used it a lot last
He
year.
used it a lot last year. He has since moved to Bennington and from what I understand, they're having issues with him down there too, so.
But I mean, is
But
this something that
this
should
is-
I think
be
he
on
had
the
a permit
permit?
though.
Yeah, he
Should
did.
something
It
be
should be.
on the
He
permit
had a
application?
permit, But
Okay.
we
It should
need
be
to
on the
make,
permit application.
make it very clear that
And
they are
why
not
did he
to
do
change.
that? Did it have to do with
Because he
baseball or
moved the
softball?
softball bases
To
to
baseball
baseball
length.
dimensions.
Well, and I'm confused about that because she's talking about baseball and I thought they were softball.
No,
too.
that's, the Little League baseball is one thing. I'm
Okay.
saying the gentleman that had the Bombers that rented the field
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
When he went in there, he went on the softball field and he pulled the bases and the core
Okay,
where the bases are
It's as
mounted.
simple as
So, in other
changing the
words-
permit application to state that
Don't move it.
you are
Nothing.
not
Don't move
allowed to
anything.
move the base configuration of the baseball or softball
so
fields.
we have baseball fields and we have softball fields.
Well,
and
now,
if-
now at this point, Vinny and I gotta go down there and fix the mound. Or that on the little league field because
But
now it's 10 feet or 6 feet back where it should be for the kids
Right.
pitch,
He's,
little league field.
yeah, he's made a mess of all the fields.
Yeah.
Other than the baseball field, because he didn't use that.
okay,
He
so
used the softball and the
basically,
Little League.
whatever field it is,
They're
nobody who
not to
rents a field
change.
can touch anything.
They do not
And
change
so in
the
other
base
words,
configuration.
They can't
Use
say-
it as is.
Use it as
That
is. And so if they rent it and they're like, wait a minute, this is for adults, so we want it different, they cannot
Sorry.
do that. They need to look at it ahead of time. They
Yeah.
cannot touch that.
Yep.
If they alter
Softball,
it,
whether
they-
it's
they
high
take your
school
cores
or
out.
men's league, it's the same dimensions.
if they alter it, they'll
But
be
he
charged
pulled
for
it
fixing.
and
Yeah.
At $1,000 per
And I
hour.
was on
Because
I was on the phone with Jamie
a
that day and he was not a
softball,
happy
a
camper.
softball baseline is 60 feet from home plate to first base,
Yeah,
60 to second.
yeah.
He moved it to 75, which is baseball dimensions. So it put the bases out at the grass,
Yeah.
but he pulled the cord. He pulled the core
The anchor.
where
Yeah.
everything
Anchors
mounts
it.
to.
Yeah.
So
I
now
like
to
adding
line
that
everything
That's
up.
like vandalism.
I like adding the clause in there that if you
As
need to use it
You'll be
as
charged
presented
as
as is, and if you make alterations to the field, you'll be charged. And
That's
then we
blacklisted.
put a number
it's-
in there that's not attractive, so you're gonna pay
You'll be charged.
$1,000 an hour.
And make it that you will not be allowed to use field.
And you'll never use
Real
the
punitive.
park again.
Real punitive.
I mean,
Period.
I understand the guy's a decent guy, but he did some real.
I
It-
mean,
there's
that's-
things-
that's-
Let's go back and
That's
fix it.
really-
Yeah,
that's
go
my
back and
fault.
put them back to where they were. He
Put
should
it
never
back
have pulled
where
the
you found
cores.
it.
Exactly.
Yep.
He should never have pulled the base course.
Yeah.
So that's
Should've
the
just
part
Well,
that gets
not,
me.
not a
Well,
question
it's
of putting it back,
courtesy
should not have moved it.
versus-
I mean, And he
Yeah.
should know that.
You
We should
I understand
look at
moving the
that.
bases because, but you don't have to pull
Or
the course.
even in the
to do
next
that.
meeting, we should just make
We
that
can,
change to that.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
So.
yeah.
um,
I'll
yeah.
bring back
I
a
agree.
form.
And you were
that
not
has
happy that
some
day.
language.
Oh, I was extremely upset that day when I got down there.
Wow.
Okay.
And I mean, I spent 4.5 hours getting them close,
Mhm.
very close. But we're gonna do the robot on them and get things dead on.
Mhm.
It's not.
Okay,
What
so,
else you got?
one more thing, and then I think we should go to the executive session unless there's
Yep.
anything else from anybody. Dan, did you ever check in with Keith
I did,
Squires?
I talked to Keith and he and I are gonna get together this coming weekend and look for LiDAR here on, the table and
Okay,
He did say that he recommended we talk to the surveyor, right? Or did-
Richard, right, or no?
But anyway, he said he's done work up there recently.
Okay.
And he trusts his judgment,
Mhm.
so
Would it be possible for me to join that meeting?
I don't see why not.
But
We're gonna lay out the letter map.
and that's all in
Everything.
there. Everything that was presented is right, is
Yep.
in there. Joe Nash did spend some time looking at maps to try to see if she could find anything else
Yeah,
that was related to it. But I think the key issue, I mean, I just think we need to know what Keith's understanding of the situation was. Okay,
And
that's
then- And
fantastic.
then ultimately, we will decide. Our part in this is just to decide where the right of way is.
Right.
And they deal with it,
That's
whatever,
it.
however
It's
they
just-
want to deal with it, it's out of our hands.
Right,
Yeah.
and right,
This is
right
our
now,
right-of-way, this is
right
where it
now,
is.
right now, the right of way is in a certain place in the records we have and on the town. And they're saying it should be in another place. And that, you know.
Saying something does not make
Nope.
it so.
Nope, and it's also
On
interesting,
anybody's part.
but it's also interesting that they were using as a basis for that, how the road looks on the LiDAR after there'd been work on the road. So of course it looks like a road because the landowner did work on the road. So, you know, it's like this thing.
But he said that, the surveyor right was, reputable and, you know.
Right.
And,
Okay, okay.
the other
Good job.
thing to keep in mind is depending on who is paying. I'm not saying everybody's correct, but I'm saying follow the money.
Oh, yeah.
So if they've got a surveyor that says thus and such and they're paying the bill, you gotta weigh it that way. So,
Right, and I think that pending what you, Mr. Squires, come up with.
Yeah.
I think then at some point we do have to have a hearing about that, but that's.
and just
the next
do a
step.
final determination, there is a right of way, this is where we believe it is, and up with legal counsel on board. And do with it what you will.
And what was the name of the law firm that we go to if Merrill has a conflict?
Pietro Lynn
Yeah.
and Blackman.
Inland.
Who?
Pietro Lynn and Blackman.
Pietro,
Yep.
Yeah,
Lynn.
Lynn,
Yes.
okay,
And
Linden?
At Lynn and Blackman.
Lynn and Blackman. Must be.
Oh, I
use
see,
them
I
for
see.
the- Because they also do work for the school.
Black man or Black Mun?
Black.
MAN? MON? Okay. Pietro Lynn at Lynn and Blackman, okay.
Yep.
All right, that's great.
They're in
That's great.
Burlington.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right,
So we
so,
need to go into executive session for personnel matter,
Personnel and probably legal.
yeah, legal.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that a premature discussion of a personnel and legal issue would cause the municipality to suffer substantial disadvantage.
Second.
Motion made by Matt and second by Jamie to, establish the reason for the executive session as a legal and personnel matter. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Why?
Aye.
And
What?
Not yet.
not yet. We got one more. I'll make a motion to enter into executive session for discussion of said legal and personnel issues. And to invite Chief Hawley into the executive session for his portion of the discussion.
Second.
Motion made by Matt and second by
Move
Glenn
forward.
to enter into executive session to discuss said legal and personnel matters and invite, Chief Hawley to the discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And I don't think there'll be any action, right? So Janet, we
Yeah, I
can
don't-
just give you a dismissed time when we come out.
Okay, sounds good.
Hopefully Sunday.
I'll help you.
To, yes,
So-
go ahead.
More.
It's the knees, the back.
And you're
The family's away.
I know, I should be sleeping right now.
Call your daddy.
Recording stopped.
Would that be you?
I
or
mean,
is
it's
it-
that-
or
we can
It's not
just-
Yeah.
visible, it has no access.
I would have, then I would have
Propose
been
this?
by now.
Yeah.
And then do I do something here, leave?
Leave.
I would have.
Thank you, Janet.
Janet's office.
Welcome.